In this video, we're going to talk about snacking and carb addiction, so stay tuned. Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. I'm so glad you stopped by. I'm Marty, the Keto Coach, and I help people lose weight, keep it off with a keto lifestyle. If you want to change some things, you have to change some things. So what role do snacks play in the keto lifestyle? In this short video, I hope to explain how important it is to understand that as a carb-fueled person, we have to address the subject of snacking and how it affects our moods and our comfort, and how we're going to transition from being a carb addict to a fat-fueled machine that isn't driven around by desires of food. So let's get into it. So snacks, says Dr. Rob Sivas, the carb addiction doc, are always an emotional event. It's funny how you can eat a big meal and just be stuffed, and then they bring out the ice cream menu and the dessert menu, and all of a sudden you have room for just a little more. We used to say that ice cream just fills in the cracks in the food you just ate. We always had a good excuse to add the dessert. So how is this going to play as you transition into keto? Emotionally, as well as your physical needs for food and how often you need to eat and where a snack would land in that. So when you're a carb-fueled person and you eat a big meal loaded with carbs, I know I used to eat Mexican food 4 nights a week, and what would happen is I would eat several bowls of chips, lots of tortillas with my food, then order tamales and enchiladas, and all of that was carbs with a little bit of, beans, rice, and a little bit of meat somewhere in the taco or in the tamale. So my body was fueled by carbohydrates. Well, when the carbohydrates take off and send your blood sugar through the roof, your body goes into metabolizing that as quickly as it can, and insulin goes up to force the cells to accept the sugar and to get it out of the bloodstream, because your body knows that's not good for you. And then 30, 40 minutes later, you're not hungry, but all of your energy that you ate has been shoved around and put away, and your blood sugar goes down faster than your insulin does. And so your body starts craving more carbs, even though you just ate not that long ago. You get home from a big fancy meal, and very shortly thereafter you could eat, a bowl of ice cream or some chips or popcorn and watch a little TV or whatever. And so this is a cycle that we're used to, both physically and mentally. A lot of our activities in this country are based around food. I'm getting ready right now to go to a wedding today, and I'm sure that there will be a lot of food involved, and a lot of cake, or maybe cake and ice cream, or sweet punches, good comfort food that we all love and crave. And so as you transition into a keto lifestyle, you have to have a plan and a process by which you navigate those waters. And so I really hope to give you some things to help you get through this. I know how I'm going to handle today at the wedding. It shouldn't be too hard for me. So one of the things with the carb model is that you have this reward response in the brain. The reward centers of your brain love when you get all that sugar going. And so you get these feelings of euphoria tied to the carbohydrates that were tied to life events that we're all a part of, like weddings or family get-togethers or after church or any excuse we could come up with to have these things going on. And so what happens is, like any other addiction, the more you do it, the more your brain wants to do it. And so that becomes a reward system in the brain that becomes the addiction. So in every video, I keep saying the same thing. You have to know yourself. You have to know how you function in a carb-fueled situation like today's wedding for me. You have to know, can you take a day off plan today and just really throw it out the window and go bad and recover Monday morning and get right back on the wagon? I myself, I feel like I have a pretty good relationship with food now. I know I'm still an addict, and if I was to quit doing keto, I would get sick and I would get fat again. But I know that for me, I can go to this wedding today if I chose to, and I could just party it up and just eat everything on the table. And I know tomorrow, which is a Monday, I would get back on the wagon. Because that's how I roll. I am more motivated by my scales and by my health than I am by those carbohydrates anymore. It hasn't always been that way. Dr. Rob Sivas, who I watched a video of his this week on this topic, which all of his are, he doesn't want to take a planned day off or a cheat because he knows himself. As a carb addict, he just decides to stay totally away from it. And I think that's probably the best. Laura Spath, one of the people I really follow a lot and really care a lot about her content, she cannot cheat. She knows if she does, she will be months down that path. So I want you to know yourself. You have to be able to say, I'm going to get back on program tomorrow. Today I'm taking off tomorrow. If you can't do that, then you have to take the other approach of stringing a few months together of perfection as best you can so that you can maybe get to a place where if you mess up from time to time, you know how to get right back on the wagon. Because perfection is pretty tough. I don't know if you saw the movie Tin Cup, but Tin Cup says in the movie that he was teaching the golf swing, and he says, perfection is unattainable. And that's the way I feel about this. There's going to be slip-ups. There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be bad decisions. I shouldn't say slip-ups. We decide what we do. There's going to be times when you decide, I'm going to eat that. And I think that's okay as long as you can know yourself and you can take care of that. But perfection is unattainable, so if that's the case, and you're going to slip up even if you don't want to, then having a framework to work in that says, hey, it doesn't matter what I do. Mondays are Mondays, and Mondays are keto, and Mondays are clean, and you get right back on that wagon every time, then you're in a good spot. Hey, I want to take a break for just a second and ask you to like this video if you like it. Comment if you have anything you'd like to see a video on. Share it with friends on Facebook or in a text. Just copy the link and hit share. And then if you love it and you want more of it, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, and YouTube will let you know when the next one comes out. And with that, let's get back to the video. So a good strategy for the snacking carb addiction model is to do, as Dr. Sivas calls it, a bridge, or I just call it a snack replacement or a comfort food replacement. There are things you can do and things you can eat and drink to help with cravings in the early days, especially when you're starting out. One of the things that I recommend is good keto snacks. So as you're transitioning especially, I am very pro fat bombs. You can Google a fat bomb. They make them sweet and they make them savory, but they're very available, easy to make. I'm very pro fat bomb. I'm very pro beef jerky, pork skins. Let's see. I would try Diet Coke, coffee with heavy cream and butter in it, which is kind of a fat bomb of its own. These things are very satiating. They have a lot of fat. That's where you want to target. Or if you were a soda drinker and you just love that sugary sweet taste, get used to a diet drink. They're not that hard to get used to. It takes a couple days, and then it tastes just as sweet and just as delicious as your old drink did. And you can use that as a crutch or a bridge or what have you to get through the phase of transitioning from carb-fueled to fat-fueled. I'm going to get a drink real quick. One thing I would tell you is don't think you can moderate. One of the dangers that you can run into is thinking you can moderate. If you ask an alcoholic who's in recovery how moderation works out, they'll let you know real quick there's no such thing. And what I really mean about this is you can't moderate on a daily basis. So that's why I always talk about planned days off, because moderation will keep you out of ketosis, it'll keep you from getting any success, and it will cause you to fall back. If, on the other hand, you string together a couple weeks or 30 days of really eating on plan, really getting your body transitioned over and changing what your body is craving for, then I think the planned day off works. But moderating a little bit of bad every day will never ever work for you. You've got to break the addiction to the sugar. And maybe you're sitting here going, why does he keep calling it addiction? It is literally a physical dependence when you're carb fueled to be running on that. And Dr. Berry has videos on sugar addiction. Dr. Cywes speaks about it all the time in all his videos. And that's C-Y-W-E-S, Dr. Rob Cywes. Great guy. I mean, I don't know him. Great content, let's put it that way. But these things are seriously addictive. Our behavior is addictive. You know, a lot of times you get up in the morning and you go through your whole morning routine, you don't even think about it because it's what you do every morning. You know, you make your bed or you don't make your bed, you take a shower, you brush your teeth, you put on deodorant, all those things that we do. We don't even have to think about it. Well, it's the same way about reaching in the pantry and getting those chips that go with movie time, or the popcorn that goes with movie time, or the cold drink that goes with lunch and goes on driving. When you're running down the road, you got to have a soda or whatever. These things are just things you don't even realize that you're addicted to because you haven't tried to quit them. And when you try to quit these things, that's when you learn that this is an addiction. And you can get a grip on it though. By switching your body over to a fat-fueled machine and restricting carbs way down, what happens is you change what your body craves when it has cravings. So it's very common for me to desire a fatty coffee or a ribeye or a bite of butter, Kerrygold butter, some really rich butter. It's really common for me to be that way. And so, but I've been doing this for a couple years now, and so I crave the fat because my body is kind of over it. It just doesn't desire carbs because it doesn't get them. It doesn't have the blood sugar swings from low to high. And so, because fat really doesn't affect your blood sugar at all. And so what you see is a change in what your body desires. So this will break from carb addiction to fat fueled, and then your desires will change. And so you can look back, like me, I have people all the time that say, well, I'm not giving up this, that, and the other that I love, and I look, there's no way I could do it. And I look at them and I go, I don't understand what you mean by that, because literally, I don't know a person, maybe my dad and my son, but like in all of my friends and all of my circles, I don't know anyone who is carb addicted worse than me, my son, and my dad. They say it's genetic. I think it's just that we all have Mama's recipe for macaroni and cheese, so we're all, I think it's more familial than genetic that we would be like this. But I do think that if I can do it, anybody can do it. If you'd have asked me about me if we were meeting and you were telling me to describe myself to you 2 years ago, I would have said I'm a foodie. I would have said I'm a cook, not a chef because I have no training, but that I love to cook, that I can taste something in a restaurant and go home and replicate it because I'm such a food addict that I can taste every spice and everything in it. And I was really all about food. And if I can do it, I believe anybody can do it because it's not willpower. It's changing the machinery in your body. When you change how many mitochondria you have running through your body that's begging to burn fat and provide energy, that's what your body's going to ask for. And you can break the cycle. And that's the good news out of this video. No matter how bad it is, you can get better. And that's what I want you to take from this video today. So the need to eat will change from emotional and sugar-driven to a fuel-driven, fat-fueled model. And what happens then is you start eating for fuel instead of for emotion. Then, when your tank's full, it's actually full. You're not looking for any ice cream to pour down to fill in the cracks. You know that you're actually full, and you have fuel. And just like your car, if you have a half a tank or a full tank, you don't need any more. When you run out, you need more. So now I eat based on my tank's empty, so I need to eat. My tank's full, I don't need to eat. And now snacking is not even a part of my life. But I'm 2 years in. But that's been that way for quite a while now. And so that's what I want you to know is this is not hard, and it's not the end of, foods you love, because your love of food will change. And I am just, right now I'm on a kick with this restaurant by my house where I eat sriracha Brussels sprouts. I can't even believe that that's what I'm saying. And I've had them 2 or 3 times this week, and I would go right now and get some more. I get a ribeye and these sriracha Brussels sprouts. And I was sitting there with some folks the other day, and I said, I am officially a grown-up. I am loving these Brussels sprouts, so I know I'm a grown-up now. But it's so funny that I crave those things. They're so good. And it just doesn't seem possible because that's not who I have ever been. And I want you to know that if I can do this, you can do it easier, because I was the worst. I was strung out on carbohydrates, and I was a snacking, eating machine. And now I'm a fat-fueled, eat when I run out of fuel, stop when I'm full. Because there's no point in squeezing the handle on the pump once it's full. It just runs out on the floor. Same with my body. Once I'm full, I'm done. I don't want any more. And so I want you to know that you can get where I am, and you can get to even better places. But you just got to start switching your fuel system over. The longer you eat clean and the longer you eat low carb, the better you're going to do. And you just stop snacking naturally. You don't have to think about it or try. You just quit doing it. And it's so natural. And so look forward to that happening in your life, just like it has so many in the keto world already. And with that, I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.